$2 trillion. That's how much trade quietly crosses the US, Canadian, and Mexican borders every single year. And on July 1st, the deal holding all of it together just didn't get renewed. Nobody officially killed it, but here's what actually bugs me about this story. The real loser isn't who you think. I'll tell you who that is at the end, and the answer is going to genuinely surprise you. Let's back up. USMCA, the agreement Trump called the greatest trade deal ever negotiated in his first term, hit its mandatory 6-year review on July 1, 2026. All three countries had to say yes to extend it 16 more years. Canada said yes. Mexico said yes. The Trump administration said, "We don't need anything they have." So now the deal is not renewed. It doesn't instantly explode. The agreement stays technically alive for up to a decade under annual reviews. But here's where it gets genuinely crazy. That uncertainty is the whole problem. Every year, Canada and Mexico wake up not knowing if this is the year the US pulls the plug. That is not a business environment. That is a hostage situation. And the stakes are not abstract. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce puts 13 million American jobs as supported by North American trade. The Tax Foundation did the math on what fully removing USMCA exemptions would cost: $466 billion in extra taxes over the next decade. That's roughly $300 per U.S. household just in 2027 alone. And that's before you get to the cars. The auto industry is the beating heart of this deal. About 18% of all U.S. trade with its neighbors is automotive. Right now, USMCA requires 75% of a car's content to come from North America. The Trump administration reportedly wants to crank that to 82%, with half sourced specifically from the U.S. Here is the problem. Not a single 2026 model year vehicle on sale today hits 80%. Not one. Automakers say hitting those thresholds would take years and billions in investment. And right now they have no idea whether the rules will even exist in 12 months. Canada is arguably in the most exposed spot. More than 75% of Canadian exports go to the United States. Investment in Mexico is already down roughly 10% year over year. Canada lost over 100,000 full-time jobs in just the first 2 months of 2026. Prime Minister Carney is trying to play it cool, but behind closed doors his government is pushing hard to get steel, aluminum, and lumber tariffs off the table. Mexico is running a different play: quiet diplomacy, keep the bilateral talks going, avoid the worst new tariffs. The US and Mexico already have a third round of talks scheduled for mid-July. Canada and the US haven't even formally started. Here's my honest take, and this is the part nobody wants to say out loud. The US is not winning this standoff as cleanly as it looks. 1/3 of all U.S. manufacturing inputs come from Canada and Mexico. American factories are embedded in North American supply chains in ways that took 30 years to build. You can't just rip that out and call it a victory. Texas alone exported over $42 billion in petroleum products to Canada and Mexico in 2025. You want to blow that up to score points? The real loser here, and this is the answer I promised at the top, is the American consumer and the American factory worker. Not the Canadian government, not Mexico City. The businesses that are going to slow walk investment, the factories that won't expand, the car buyers who will pay more, they're all in the US. The uncertainty is the tax, and ordinary people are paying it right now. Bold prediction. Some kind of side deal framework gets announced before the end of 2026. Both Mexico and Canada will make concessions on supply chain origin tracing, specifically to block Chinese goods from sneaking through. Trump declares victory. The core deal survives, barely. But the annual review cloud doesn't lift, and that drag on investment is real and it's going to last years. If you want the money story behind every power move reshaping the world, subscribe. We do this every week.